Hello everyone. It's now week 13 and we just finished our conference prospectuses last week. I will be reviewing your conference prospectuses, the final drafts that you submitted. Most of you submitted on Friday, and for those of you that I met with on Friday, I gave you an extension because of that last second meeting. But nonetheless, you'll get feedback on your informal outline right away. It should be within the next day or two, so please be on the lookout for that. As far as the next steps go, I want you to be aware that for this week you are revising the informal outline into a formal outline, and you're plugging your support into that outline. And for this reason, I've posted various resources that should help you with that. Because our goal for this week is to line up all of our evidence under our claims. This research paper outline template kind of explains the flow of the paper, how you should be constructing your outline, moving from claims of fact to claims of value to finally your claim of policy, where you kind of review the pros and cons of carrying out the particular policy you are promoting. To encourage you to structure that formal outline and to plug in your support, make sure to complete the Essay 2 pre-write. Really the reason why I'm making this video though is to talk with you about how do we analyze a text. If you remember, there are different ways that you conduct primary research. There's the interview and the survey, and many of you got practice with that last week. Then there's the field report. I'm not going to talk about the field report at length. I do have the slide in the video from about 2 weeks ago where I describe what the field report is. Basically, you would go to a location, perhaps it's a restaurant or maybe it's a factory farm, and you take a field trip through there. You take notes, you interview people. Those notes become a form of primary research that you can then use in your paper as support for any claims that you're making. Well, the last method of primary research is one that we've already done before. Actually, when you analyzed Ask the Dust, you were analyzing a primary source called a text. And so in this week's slides, what I gave you was an example of a text. Okay. Again, when in that slide show, in that video about primary sources, I defined what a text was. I identified different examples of a text. Here's an example of a text. This is an advertisement for Starbucks. Okay. So what I do basically in the next few slides is guide you through a process of analyzing a text. We should first, though, begin with our informal outline. Let's say that I were writing a claim of policy paper, just like you, and my problem and major claim were essentially this. If major food companies continue to advertise to consumers by making health and ethical promises, the government should increase the regulation of such claims in order to protect consumer interests. Now, my claim of policy is off to a solid start. It's definitely not finalized. I should identify the specific federal agency or state or local agency that would impose the regulation, and I should also identify what that regulation is. But for now, I know I want the advertising of major food companies to be regulated, because whatever they use to appeal to my my sense of morality, my sense of ethics, what's right and wrong, if they make promises or claims that appeal to that morality, I want them to follow through on it. And I don't always believe that they do. So that's kind of what I'm researching here. And you can see I've got my informal outline. And this is kind of a projection of what you will be doing. You've got your informal outline with your claims. And for this first point, what I've done is I've provided support for my claim. Let's say I've conducted a survey, as many of you have. And I found the results from questions 1 and 2 to be useful to supporting my claim that food companies indeed do appeal to the moral concerns of their consumers in their advertisements. Well, then I'm going to want to plug those survey results into my first support sandwich for my formal outline. And the Starbucks advertisement, I think, also represents how these food companies appeal to the moral concerns of their consumers. So I think that it also belongs here in claim number 1. So what you can see in the materials that I've posted is the primary source, the text that I analyze. Note this advertisement says responsibly grown. You can see the plants emerging out of the Starbucks cup, which is in the middle but not quite center of the advertisement, and below you see how it says ethically traded. Okay. In the following slides I describe a process for you in how you should be analyzing a text. Well, the first thing that you need to do is describe any significant details you see in this text. Okay. And the second thing, after you've described those details, okay, is you're going to analyze them, right? Only analyze the details that are relevant to the claim that you're making. In my case, I'm looking for details that are related to morality and ethics, because Starbucks seems to be using some kind of morality or ethical concerns to get me to buy their coffee. And that's basically what I do in this slideshow. I explain a process for describing and analyzing a text, and I walk you through that in each of these slides, right? And there are about 6 of them, okay? And I give you examples of some details that I would have described had I been conducting this analysis. I then go on to explain how I remind you of how to make a point, because ultimately we're going to take those details that you've described and analyze, and we're going to put them into a paragraph. And for that, you want to return to the sample informal outline, because it also has a text analysis paragraph with it. Okay, so what I've tried to do here is walk you through a way to analyze a primary source begin with your informal outline, plug in evidence, and then make a paragraph based on a point that you're making about the survey results and the text, the advertisement. Okay, so please look at both the slideshow and this sample primary source analysis paragraph along with the informal outline. Look at these 2 resources as together. I hope that this video clarified kind of how I would like you how I would like to encourage you to prepare for this week. Remember to follow the week 13 plan. And if you have any questions about how your research paper is developing, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.